Hello, everyone. So I decided I'm going to do one of those 8-page zines. This is for Dee Dee's zine swap. If you don't know how to make one of these, you start with a piece of regular size 8.5 by 11 copy paper. You fold it in half. You fold it in half again. You fold it in half again, and you get the 1/8 size mark. And then you open it back up again, and you want to cut this little slat in the middle. And what you do is you kind of fold it in half this way, and you cut it right down here. And then once you've done that, you have a little booklet. So that was the promised tutorial about. You can find a million of these tutorials. They're really easy. Anyways, to show you the other way, I started working on my zine. So the way it works for this particular zine swap is you get your theme for the zine from Dee Dee. She gives you 3 words, and you have to sort of make something up out of it. Now, I don't know how I'll fit in with what they got, but I got the 3 words lobster, rain, and ice cream cone, which I'm shortening just to cone, and it kind of reminded me of this H.P. Lovecraft monster called the Great Race of Yith. So I did like a history of the Great Race of Yith. They're cone shaped and they have these lobster claws, and I tell a little history of them and how their civilization was wiped out in torrential floods. So I've got this whole little storyline going on. It's not a comic exactly. There are no speech bubbles or anything like that. It's kind of this is kind of like a little helpful pamphlet you might leave around in a bus at a bus stop, or you just leave it behind when you're out at a. It'll help people be aware of the dangers of Yith. So, anyways, this is a draft version of it. I don't know if you can see it. I've got my my grid layer on here, and this is just a pencil layer. And then I'm torn whether I should hand layer it or I could go with. I've got this text on here. Let me at least take the grid guide off, and I'm kind of wanting to do it in color. I know a lot of people would just be doing theirs in real art, as I have done a little bit right here. Like I started out doing it this way, and then I changed my design up a little bit. But it might be really hard to mass produce, and that's the thing that you have to do with these. Is the goal is to make 10 of them, 10 copies of it, and 10 copies in color. I guess you could make it and then maybe scan it or something like that. And I'm wondering. Like I did this in metallic color pencil, and I'm not sure how good that's going to scan. I have really cool metallic colored pencils I haven't used for anything yet, and I want to. I've used them in sketchbooks, but metallic colored pencils, wow, nifty. I want to try them out, right? So, but turns out I don't think maybe I could, if I printed them out black and white, I could color it in, or hear me out here, I could just color it on digital, and then I could give it out that way. A lot of decisions to be made. No matter what you choose, by the way, you might notice that there's a lot of like extra lines here. No matter what you choose, there it is. This is what's really going to get printed out. All the lines will be gone, so that when my folds are there, even if they're a little bit off one way or another, it should work out okay. I've got lots of nice margins to use in case anything goes wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so no matter what you choose, though, the core skill involved is definitely still drawing. You still have to draw, each and every page here. So, and I didn't try and do anything too fancy. I didn't do any double page spreads or, I had kind of a notion of being a bit cheeky and adding in a pop-up, but because these are going to be distributed in large groups, like they're going to be sent to a central person. I think it's actually Janet Young who will be sort of packaging these things up. Adding extra pages and extra bulk is probably not a great idea. So it is what it is, right? We're doing what we're doing. So I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to bust the opacity down a little bit more, make a new layer. There it is right there. We're going to call this the ink layer, or inky, as I like to call it. And then I'm just going to start inking away, and I'm going to try to, I can actually take like all of my, let's take this, this one right here. What did they want? What were they searching for? What I can do is reduce the opacity and then trace over that with my lettering, right? So I can actually hand letter using this as a lettering guide, which might be a good idea as well. So I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet. It might be kind of cool and charming to have it hand lettered. I saw one of Janet Young's zines and it was hand lettered and it was like immaculate, and I'm like, oh man. And I'm not a letterer, but you know, I want to be a letterer someday. So I was thinking maybe that's what I would do. Anyways, so I thought I would make this video and just start with the cover. Where is my guy? Do I have my inky layer back? Come on now. And this should be pretty familiar if you're watching my other stuff. How I'm doing things. I think I want to use my rusty nib. I got a couple of choices. I want to use one of the ones I don't use very often. Like I've got a Wally Wood pen. I've got a Milt fine liner, Milt Kniff. I've got some fine engravers, and I think I've got a Robert Crumb pen in here somewhere. There's a Ray Pettibon pen. And these might look super ugly, like when you first see them, but once you see them, oh, there's some ink washes and stuff in here too. That's another possibility, dude. The other idea I had is I have this digital gouache tile, which is really cool, and that's another thing I would definitely consider. So let me get back to my rusty nib. I think I have a Robert Crumb pen. I think I have, where is it? Where's my Crumb pen? There it is right there. That's the Robert Crumb pen. And he was known for using, among other things, see how noisy that is? I'm a little worried about it though. I'm wondering if I should maybe take this piece of paper. This is at size. It's 8.5 by 11. Maybe I should take this, double the size, right? Well, that will be 17 by 22. You know, take the whole thing, put it on 17 by 22, and then ink it and shrink it back down, and that'll tighten everything up. So I think that might be a good way to go. So how to do that? Well, let me think. I got a couple of options. First of all, let's just choose a new piece. It'll be 17 inches width by 22 height. That's actually the opposite of what I want. Let me go backspace. 17 height, 22. 300 DPI. It'll only give me 11 layers, but I don't need that many layers. So let's do that. So there's my 17 by 22 piece of paper, right? Now let's take this. Let's take all. Let's hand letter. We're gonna take. First of all, let's remove the ink layer completely. We're gonna take all the lettering and collapse it into one layer that rasterizes the whole thing. Okay. And we're going to call this lettering. So I've got basically three layers. I've got my guideline layer, which I'm not going to worry about anymore, the draft layer, and the lettering layer. And the lettering layer, maybe it's over there or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and bring these up to complete opacity for a moment. We're going to copy. Let's copy the canvas. I think it's over here under add, under the wrench. Then we're going to go into our other page, which is at the right size, the doubled up size, paste the whole thing in, right? And it's small, but we just stretch it. And we got to be real careful because it's It's gotta match up exactly because of those guidelines, and I'm not keeping the guidelines. So be very careful. I think we can't be more than a millimeter off at this point. I think. So I think we're good. Alright, now we reduce the opacity again, right? Alright, so then let's start down our layer. We'll rename the layer. This is going to be our inky layer. And let's start inking. What do I have? The Robert Crumb pen still? I got my Crumb pen. Okay. First I want to ink my central figure. Does anybody know what the Great Race of Yith is? Has anyone else heard of it? Comes from a H.P. Lovecraft story called The Shadow Out of Time. And the idea was there was this alien race far away on a distant planet, and their planet was dying. But they came up with a way to swap brains with other species. So they started searching for a good place to swap brains with something, and they eventually find Earth, but this is millennia ago. Humans were not on Earth yet. So they found these weird sort of, I think these were almost based on like one-celled or like, you know, microscopic organisms that H.P. Lovecraft saw in a book or something. Anyways, he had said, okay, well, there was this species that was evolving on Earth at the time, and they discovered them. And then they swapped brains with them. Because they could swap brains, they had this machine that would allow them to swap brains across time, both time and space. Right? And not just with, you know, all kinds of creatures. So anyways, long story short, they find the species that is evolving on Earth, and they swap brains with them, and they direct their evolution. And these species basically becomes the Great Race of Yith. As their planet is destroyed, they've taken the brains of whatever these creatures used to be and just put them into their old bodies, and they're destroyed. There's two great wars that take place on Earth. There's a war against these creatures called flying polyps. Oops, I don't like that. Have it like this, right here. Flying polyps, and then also the primordial ones. And for the flying polyps, they imprison them deep in the earth. And then eventually, you know, they build this whole civilization that gets wiped out millennia ago. So there's no record of them anywhere. But they still had their machine. Like, they rebuilt their machine on Earth, and they were using it to communicate across time, and that's when they started to talk to humans in the future. And that's where the shadow out of time kind of takes place. So anyways, I think they eventually, like I said, they get wiped out. They had imprisoned the flying polyps, but they eventually, I think, even got wiped out by them. And their civilization was destroyed in floods caused by rain. Anyways, I first encountered the Great Race of Yith in Dungeons and Dragons. It was in the first edition Deities and Demigods source book by James M. Ward, and they seemed very intriguing to me, these brain-stealing creatures. And by the way, they're not really portrayed as villains, although they are sort of alien and not particularly nice, you know, but they had their own civilization. They valued you know, art and culture and things like that. They had an amazing library of knowledge that they developed. But all of it was lost. However, you got to remember, even if it was lost, they were communicating across time. So if they made communications into the future back before they had been wiped out, then they still exist, and they still have the ability to seize your brain. They can coercively swap and then you'll have the brain of you'll be in the body of a Yith in the past, in the distant past. You'll be trapped in its body. And the Yith will be inhabiting your body. That's if you don't watch out. This is one of those things that lady saw on that airplane. You know what? It's a possibility. All right. They have a cone-shaped body. Looks like an upside-down ice cream cone. And they have these two kind of lobster claw tentacles. And then they have this other strange appendage, which they can use to sense microwaves and radiation. And it's neither, sight nor scent, nor any of the senses that we're familiar with. It's something else, stranger. They can sense like ultraviolet with this strange appendix. You can find pictures of them, of the great race of Yith. Just go into Google image search and type Great Race of Yith, and you will see many depictions of this creature. My version is my own version. Everyone basically agrees on the details because that's what's in the books. That they have these triangle-shaped bodies, and they have this appendage, and they have the lobster claws. Beyond that, you'll see all kinds of different interpretations of what that really entails. Could be anything. My version is going to be emerging from a cave. I'm going to hand letter this title. That's one thing I did decide on. This would be much better in color, don't you? I mean, that's where it's kind of begging for some just jarring looking color or something like that. Some shadowy stuff. A lot of people, they see the Cthulhu mythos, the H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and they go, oh, it should just be, just horror looking. There was a weird aspect to it too, though. There was kind of a disturbingly naturalistic and strange, as if we were looking into a microscopic world almost. A Cronenberg-like feeling. I'm liking this brush. I've never used this brush before, the Crumb brush. He was known for using a rapidograph pen. Among other things, during different periods. When he worked at American Greetings. Fun fact, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, also worked at American Greetings. He didn't know Robert Crumb or anything. This would have been way before his time. But I'm just amazed at the coincidence. He's now an artist. He works in video games and stuff. So I'm just sort of, basically, I'm just sort of improvising some texture. And I want, like, this kind of strange, kind of gummy texture at the on the cone base. I want to put my like my name and my Instagram are going to be, which is RabbitFighter13, on the last page. And then when I print this out on the printer over there, I'll like do the cuts and fold it up and everything like that. It should be really cool. Yeah. However, I don't know if the people at, in this particular exchange are going to like this, but I mean, I like it. I don't know. Will they be horrified? Will they be horrified? It's Halloween is approaching. I believe they actually have to be done by October. So this could be, maybe it's almost like a Halloween spooky, sort of spooky thing right here. I'm liking the look of it. Yeah, I'm liking this Robert Crumb pen. That's pretty cool. So let's take a look at it without the pencil just for a second. This is what the image will look like. And I'm not regretting one bit that I put it on a larger piece of paper, because what we'll do is, once we shrink this down, this will tighten up. The noise that you see here, to you it might look really, really bad, but once this shrinks down, this is going to give it a nice warm analog feel. This will look almost like it was done it was hand inked or something. But of course I'm making this video, and so you'll know that I'm basically lying. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm wondering about color now. I think I have a color printer, and it would be a shame not to print it in color. The examples that I saw that Dee Dee pulled out of the she had a box of things that people had given her and exchanged. Most of them were in color. Now I assume most of them were one-offs, and I could have done that. Yes, I could have easily one-offed a copy and hand colored it just meticulously, and I would have loved to have done that. But of course, you got to do 10. Got 10. Well, I gotta make sure I do all 10. All right, I'm liking this. I'm liking this nose appendage that the thing has. But I also want to. All right, let's do this. Let's do this lettering. I'm gonna bump it up just a bit. Now, I am not a great hand letterer, as I mentioned. I practice, though, and I am a guy that has attempted to be a better hand letterer. I could even do like black letter, like calligraphy and stuff like that. I'm good at fountain pens. In this case, the great race of Ye. I'm not following my guidelines exactly. Now when it comes to hand lettering, which I'm going to have to do over this other stuff, that's going to be a little bit more hairy, I tell you what. Oh, I don't like this. I want this eye, this serif, to be a little bit smaller. And you know what, consciously, if I'm going to do serifs, I should do them on all the caps. So if I've got serifs on the I, let's do a serif on the T, and on the H, and on the E. We did a serif on the G already. What was I thinking? Let's do a serif on the A, on this T as well, and on this R, on the A. I get so caught up. I get so caught up sometimes in in lettering that if I don't move my mouse, the screen will go blank. I've got to figure out how to fix that. I'm sure there's just like some stupid setting that I can set. And my screen would quit blanking and canceling my recording. Alright, the Great Race of Yith. Sounds good. Alright, let's put it inside a cave. Like maybe this is one surviving Yith that has survived in a frozen cave somewhere. I wonder if I should bring back my no, I can't bring back the guidelines. I just have to trust that what I got is going to be good enough. I might be able to rebuild a set of folding guidelines on here. You know, but I think it's really going to come down to you know, is this good enough? Alright, so there's the Great Race of Yith. That'll be my cover image. You know, and maybe we will color it. You know, maybe I'll print them out in black and white and color it by hand anyways. I could color them all. Oh, it would be a real undertaking. I could color them all with my metallic colored pencils. I'm always a little too ambitious on this stuff. I don't want to fail. Like, if I do it and then fail, then I'll feel bad like I didn't get all 10 done or something, you know, or that there's inconsistency or some didn't turn out as good as others, which is inevitable. Alright. There we are, the Great Race of Yith now, page 2. I guess the first thing I want to know is I could just redo the lettering. In fact, I could shrink it down and do the lettering, and that would tighten it up as well. This page is supposed to be like a scroll. It mentions a little bit of the literary history of the Great Race of Yith. The first mention is from the H.P. Lovecraft in his story The Shadow Out of Time. And it's they were a distant alien race that can coercively exchange their minds with other species, even across vast distances of time and space. Like I said, I don't know if this particular zine will appeal to other people in the zine exchange, but at the same time, I mean, I guess you got to follow what you're doing, and maybe they'll like it. I don't know. Who knows? I like it already. I think it's cool. They could just kind of chalk it up as this guy's just a spooky guy. He's just trying to be a spooky guy. Well, not really. I'm just... Consider my prompt was very difficult. Lobster, ice cream cone, and rain. And there was that image that came right to me. Of the picture in the Deities and Demigods manual of the Great Race of Yith. Drawn by Jeff D. None other than the Jeff D. I love him. And I was like, yeah, he had lobster claws. He was cone-shaped. Will I be judged harshly? Perhaps I will. So I'm going to draw this brain. Brains are always creepy, right? My strategy for drawing the brain is it should be somewhat cylindrical. I mean, symmetrical. What am I saying, cylindrical? It doesn't have to be 100% symmetrical, but it's, like I said, it's got to be somewhat symmetrical. Okay, let's try this one. That's making me chuckle just thinking about this. Like, what will people think when they see it? Maybe they'll be impressed. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, like, there's some really good artists in that group too. I mean, I'm not going to impress them on that wavelength. I'm hoping to go on subject matter alone. All right. Can tell.
Oh, you're still charging. Goodness gracious.
All right. Now we're over on this side. We can leave symmetry behind because we can't see the other side.
Shuffling you to our ones. Still needs more.
And let's take the background out. Oh, that looks like a brain. Is that looking like a brain to you? I think that's looking like a brain. Let's draw the hatching on the underside of the scroll. We can put some texture on the outside of the scroll. And by texture, in this case, we just mean dots. Okay. I gotta keep moving my mouse around so it doesn't like cancel again. It already did it once. You may have noticed, you may have not noticed. I'm focusing on my ability to draw. Okay. All right, let's try hand lettering now. All right. The first mention. This is no different than using a names lettering guide, you know what I mean? You're stenciling letters in. The Great Race. Of course, if you're just trying to learn lettering, this is also a good exercise. Let's put a little emphasis on the word "yeah." Oops. It's from H.P. Lovecraft.
Now.
Once we finish this first panel, we're going to call it quits. In his story. The shadow. Oops, I don't like that O. Out of time. Get some stippling in there. Looking good. I put they are a distant. I'll just say they. They. Distant alien race. Maybe I should say species. Coercively. Exchange, and I should maybe put some emphasis on exchange, like make it a little bit bolder. Their minds. Oops. With other species. Even across. This is kind of a cool experiment. I've never done this hand lettering trick before, and I'm liking it. Vast distances. Let's make this one bold. Time. And I want to make this one bold as well. Space. What do you think of that? I'm looking a little squarish in the first ones, but I think it's okay. I'm really improving my lettering. All right, we're gonna leave that at that tonight. That took me almost 45 minutes to just. Well, I did the whole concept. I wrote the whole thing. And lettered 2 panels. Let's bring back the draft. There it is. All right. Please like, follow, and subscribe. There'll be more comics every day. I'm going to start working on this zine here. I might do a lot of zines. I did them before. Like, I did them in a couple of years ago. And, you know, once you start doing them, what I ran into is I was like, I don't have any good ideas for zines. And when I started on this one, I realized there is a cool way to do it. It's like an explainer almost zine that kind of tells a story without actually trying to be a comic. So what I was trying to do before was I'm a comic artist. I was trying to make a comic out of it. And it doesn't have to be, you know? So wrapping my mind around that, just that little bit, has helped me a lot. So, all right, we'll see. We'll see. I might have to bring back the guidelines because this one I want to do like a planet hanging in space, and I was thinking of doing like a black background for like a space background, you know. So maybe we'll figure out a way to do it. All right. Like I said, please like, follow, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.